Welcome. This week we're going to go over lessons 97 through 100. I don't know about y'all, but lesson 100. I think there needs to be some kind of a celebration. That means you only have 32 more lessons to go. Pretty exciting. You're doing good. We're almost there. We see the end is in sight. Before we get started, though, let's go see what materials we'll need for this week. You're going to need the abacus, a dry erase board, the multiplication envelopes. You just need, let me move my picture out of the way. You need the 1s, 2s, 5s, and 10s. You'll need your math card game book along with the basic number card deck, the part whole circle set, and the worksheets. Lesson 97, subtraction by going down. This is the lesson where you're going to need these envelopes. They're the multiplication envelopes, meaning that in the front, like it starts with a 1, it's showing these are the multiples of 1. Here we have 2 and the multiples of 2, 5, which are the multiples of 5 up through 10, and then 10 and the multiples of 10. The number that's squared, that's just showing the squared number. So 10 times 10, 100. 5 times 5, 25. Took me a long time before I realized why these things are squared. Keep you from having to take as long as I did before I figured it out. Inside these envelopes, I have separated the multiplication cards. Those are the ones that kind of look like this. They're blue. So this has 1 through 10. I have cards 1 through 10. And I just keep them in this envelope. I did it for the other numbers also, the 2s, the 5s, and the 10s. You start off by reviewing the subtraction by going up or adding on. Then we're going to talk to them that there is another strategy. You know, the whole point of all these strategies, and you can share it with your child, is that you just don't know which one is going to click, which one you like. And so we like to expose everybody, children, adults, whoever's doing these lessons, to different strategies. And then once you're exposed to the strategies, you get to choose to use the one that really connects with you, the one that makes the most sense, but you're not going to know if you're not exposed to it. This next strategy is subtraction by going down. So we're going to start with the whole number, and then we're going to take part away from it. More like probably what you're used to doing for subtraction. So this next section, subtraction by going down, I feel like the lesson is a little vague in here. It says how you're going to tell them there's another way they can do this. They take the whole number and then they're going to take part from it. It gives you an example in the abacus, but it doesn't say a whole bunch about it. So it's showing that you have 7 on the abacus. We're going to take away 5. What do we have left? We have 2. Now your child may be fine with just that one example. I don't know. I don't think my child would be fine with just that one example. I'd probably do a couple more examples for them and ask them, maybe even using 7. Okay, if we have 7 and we're going to take away 3, what do we have left? 4. We have 7, we're going to take away 6. We have 1. So it's up to you. You can use other numbers, or you could do a few of them using this one with 7. You're going to do the word problem. It says, ask the child to explain the problem in her own words. So read this problem to them, then have them tell you back what this problem is, so that's showing that they understand. Then they need to solve it. It says they can use the abacus to find their answer, and then they need to write it as a subtraction equation. Notice what it says to you to the right under explanations. It says that this problem is considered more difficult because it does not entail a physical separation of the collection, and that comparing numbers are more subtle. So on the second page at the top, one of the activities is you're going to take the multiples of 2. Your child's going to take the cards out. They're going to scatter them face up. They're going to get the 20. Actually, you ask them to get the greatest number, which is the biggest number, which is 20. And they're going to start a row with it. So they're going to lay 20 down. They're going to enter 20 on their abacus. Then you're going to ask them to take away 2. Not take away. See, I told you. We're going to ask them to subtract 2. And what is our answer? And they're going to look for that card and put it in order. And then we're going to continue, subtract 2 more. What is our answer? Subtract 2. And as they're getting their answer, they find the card, they lay it in a row. So it should be looking like it shows on here, 20, 18, 16, 14, all the way down to the number 2. And then let them compare what their row looks like to the envelope, the numbers, and see the order. There is a game in this lesson. It's not in the game book. It tells you how to play it right here in the lesson. You're going to use those envelopes. It's the multiples of 1s, 2s, 5s, and 10s. You will pick one of the envelopes. Your child will pick an envelope. Those are the numbers that you're going to collect. So for this, we're going to use the 2s and the 5s. I'm going to take the cards out of the envelopes. I have my 2s. I have my 5s, and now I'm going to shuffle them together. Get them nice and mixed up. Then you're going to lay them out face down. You're going to make 4 rows of 5 cards. So you're going to lay 5 cards and make another row underneath 5 cards and another row 5 cards until they're all laid out. Then you're going to look at your envelope. So say I had 5. I have to look at my starting number. My starting number would be 50. Then I look at my subtracting number. That would be the smallest number. That would be 5. So I'm going to be subtracting 5 from my numbers. I'm going to start with 50. I can use my abacus if I need to. So example, here I have my 50. I subtract 5. Now I have to find 45. We're going to say this out loud. Now you don't necessarily have to say 50 minus 5. I think it's kind of nice for our children to get used to this. 50 minus 5, it's 45, and then they're going to flip a card over. If they have their 45, great, they get to go again. If not, they flip it back face down, and it's the next person's turn. And you just continue this game until all the cards are used. And if they had fun and you're done, you can have them maybe get another group of cards and do a solitaire game. So if they did 5s, maybe this time they're going to do 2s. And then they just mix those up and then they just play by themselves as a solitaire game. This would also be a great game for that 5th day. Lesson 98. Comparing addition and subtraction. One thing I do want to point out, on the top of the second page, you do have different questions to ask. If a child has 3, and let's say they want to subtract 4, don't tell them that you can't do it. All right. Just let them know that you can, but then that's going to put us into negative numbers. And we're not learning that right now. That's something they'll learn a little bit later. When we tell children that they can't subtract 4 from 3, we're not really telling the truth. And then it gets a little confusing later on when they find out that they can do that. So if you come across a situation and the number they want to subtract is greater or larger than the number they want to subtract it from, just remind them that they can. It's just not something we're learning right now. But I really like that we're taking time for a child to really evaluate the difference between addition and subtraction. What's going on? And they see by using the part whole circle set, you know, that's a very comfortable, familiar thing for them. But yet you can do two different things, right? You fill it in and you can look at it as an addition problem. You can look at it as a subtraction problem. I think that's the beauty of these part whole circle sets, and why I feel like the transition to go from addition to subtraction goes a lot smoother in Right Start is because of this. But it's still good for them to evaluate, to look, to compare, to ask questions, and to be able to answer those questions too. So we end this lesson with a game. It is S1 10 minus. It's the first game in the subtraction chapter. This is very similar to a game they played for addition, but this time we're going to use subtraction. And if you see in the notes to the side in your lesson book, it says this game, we want the players to use the going down subtraction approach. So if they want to do the adding up, no, sorry, not this time. We really want to use the going down. You're going to use a set of basic number cards, 1 through 9. So you're going to need 2 1s, 2 2s, 2 3s, up through 2 9s. Then you're going to lay them face up on the table. We're going to use the abacus. We'll enter 10 because we're going to subtract from 10, right? Pick up 5. 10 minus 5 is 5. So I look on the table, I pick the other 5 up, I get to lay them down. Again, 5 plus 5 is 10. Well, 10 minus 5 is 5. Then it's the next person's turn. We're going to alternate turns. I pick up a 7. I'm going to subtract 7 from 10. My answer is 3. So I have my 7. Now I look for my 3. I'm going to pick it up because I get to lay it down because 10 minus 7 is 3. How interesting. 7 plus 3 is 10. You can see where if your child has a really good understanding of his addition facts up to 10, how it will go a little bit smoother in this game with subtracting. Lesson 90 is a review. It's pretty self-explanatory. I'm not going to go over it other than to say, look and see if your child, give them the review, let them do it on their own. Then where they struggle, you can see if they get it wrong, this is the lesson you need to go to help reinforce or reteach if need be for them to get good understanding. Last lesson of the week, lesson 100. Yes, we're in the hundreds. So excited. And it is an assessment, which is a test. So here's my thoughts on this. If your child aced the review, look at the assessment, look at the problems, see if there's anything that's different than what they did in the review, and then decide if you're going to have them do the assessment. I really don't see the point if your child aces the review and has no trouble that he really or she really needs to do the assessment. If your child struggled on the review and you went over some lessons, then yes, you need to do the assessment. And again, it shows you if there's areas on the assessment that your child did not do well in, it shows you which lessons you can go back and review. And remember, we have a 5th day. That's something you could do on that 5th day. If your child did great, didn't have any problems, didn't need any review, then use this time to play a game. Maybe work on the subtraction game that they've been learning, or play a game that they really enjoy, it's up to you. All right, we're done for this week. Yeah, it was a short week. That's because we have the assessment and the review, or I should say the review and the assessment. Next week, I'm excited because guess what? We're going to get into measuring inches and centimeters and weighing some things. It's a fun week ahead. So enjoy this week. I hope your children do well. Again, if they don't, it's not the end of the world. Just take some extra time, go over some of these lessons, play some games, and then try it again. Join me next week as we go over lessons 101 through 104. Until then.